North Korea, a world so tightly controlled that its rules feel more like fiction than reality. From banned jeans to government-approved smiles, life there follows a logic all its own. But what are the strangest rules and why do they exist? Let's uncover 20 of the most bizarre and chilling laws that shape daily life in one of the world's most secretive regimes. You probably own at least one pair of jeans. They're a wardrobe staple, something you can throw on without thinking. But in North Korea, blue jeans are reportedly restricted. The origins of this policy can be traced back to 1945, when Korea was divided into North and South. The North, under a different political and cultural system, has long distanced itself from Western styles and values. In that context, jeans have been interpreted as a symbol of Western, and particularly American, culture. There are also broader restrictions around clothing. For example, reports suggest that women may only wear pants under specific circumstances, such as when wearing work uniforms. In some cases, those found in violation of dress codes may face questioning and be asked to acknowledge the breach in writing. In extreme examples, their names and affiliations might be made known publicly as a form of social discipline. Even darker jeans, while less conspicuous, may still require approval from authorities. A simple choice of clothing could potentially raise issues, depending on interpretation. Can you imagine being punished just for choosing denim over another fabric? What would you do if fashion were controlled by law? Comment and chat with me. In many parts of the world, hairstyles are a form of personal expression. Want a mohawk? Go for it. Thinking of trying blue hair? That's your choice. But in North Korea, even hairstyle choices are subject to official regulation. According to various reports, there are 28 state-sanctioned hairstyle options, 10 for men and 18 for women. These are the only styles that are typically considered acceptable. For men, hair length is generally limited to around 2 inches, and individuals under the age of 60 are reportedly expected to have regular trims, approximately every 15 days. Women may follow different guidelines depending on marital status. Single women are often seen with longer or curled hair, while married women are encouraged to maintain shorter styles. Enforcement of these appearance standards is reported to be strict. Organizations such as the Patriotic Youth League are said to monitor compliance by conducting spot checks. Those found with non-conforming hairstyles may be asked to make immediate adjustments to align with official norms. With over 8 billion people on Earth, it's not unusual to share your name with someone else. However, in North Korea, that doesn't apply when it comes to the country's leader. In 2011, the year Kim Jong Un assumed leadership, reports indicate that citizens were no longer permitted to share his name. According to media accounts, individuals named Kim Jong Un were required to legally change their names. More recently, this naming restriction is said to have extended to his daughter, Kim Jong-un, who has made several public appearances and is widely speculated to be a potential successor. While the exact number of people affected isn't known, some reports suggest that the name Jong-un was relatively common before the policy. As a result, many families may have had to give up names with personal and familial significance, in line with the country's leadership protocols. Before continuing, I have a special 10-second request for all of you listening. If you can help me in any way, please hit the notification bell and subscribe. It helps this channel so much. And if you do that, I will do everything I can to make this show even better for you. Deal? In 1995, reports indicate that the North Korean government implemented a policy restricting women from owning or riding bicycles. The official rationale was tied to concerns about maintaining public morality, with claims that such activity was considered inappropriate for women at the time. Additional justifications included the assertion that women were less suited to navigating road traffic, raising concerns about road safety. These arguments have been widely debated and critiqued by observers and international commentators. When examining global traffic data, studies show that men are statistically more involved in traffic accidents and fatalities than women. For instance, in the United States, men are responsible for significantly more fatal crashes compared to women, suggesting that driving aptitude is not inherently determined by gender. The bicycle ban was reportedly relaxed in 2012 but reinstated in 2013. Today, enforcement is said to be less strict, particularly in areas where public transportation options are limited. However, the broader conversation around gender roles and mobility in the region continues. When you were a child, what did you dream of becoming? An astronaut? A teacher? A doctor? In North Korea, career paths are typically determined by the state rather than by individual choice. According to multiple reports, the government assigns careers to high school graduates based on national labor needs across various industries and regions. Personal interests, talents, or aspirations may carry less weight in this process, unless a family is reportedly able to influence outcomes through unofficial means. During the leadership of Kim Jong Un, some graduates were reportedly assigned to agricultural areas, including remote potato farming regions. In many such cases, individuals were expected to build housing in the region and remain there long-term. This has led to concerns that job assignments may influence not only an individual's future but also that of their children. Once a job is assigned, it is said to be extremely difficult to change professions, as occupational mobility is limited under the system. Career decisions are typically made through administrative planning, with limited input from the individuals involved. In North Korea, the government plays a central role not only in job assignments but also in determining where people live. All property is state-owned, and housing is allocated based on various factors, including a person's background and perceived loyalty to the state, according to outside reports. Residency in the capital city, Pyongyang, is tightly controlled. Gaining permission to live there is considered highly selective and often difficult to obtain. Most citizens live in the regions assigned to them and typically do not have the right to freely move, buy, or sell property. Despite these restrictions, some North Koreans have reportedly found informal ways to navigate the system. While they don't have traditional property ownership, they do possess residency registration through a certificate called IPSE-jung. Some individuals are said to create new certificates under alternative names or cancel existing ones, thereby unofficially transferring residency. Such actions are not sanctioned by authorities and may involve unofficial payments. Media reports suggest that gifts or small sums of money, ranging from consumer goods to modest amounts of cash, may be used in some cases to facilitate these processes. These exchanges are viewed by some observers as subtle forms of resistance within a highly regulated environment. Thanks to modern technology, many people around the world can easily stay connected. However, in North Korea, international communication is heavily restricted. According to multiple reports, making an unauthorized call to someone outside the country can result in severe discipline. It's estimated that around 80% of North Korean households own at least one mobile phone. These phones, however, are limited to domestic use. The country's primary mobile network, Korealink, reportedly blocks all international calls, and signal jammers are used near border areas to prevent cross-border communication. Authorities closely monitor digital communications to regulate the flow of information. These restrictions are often viewed as part of a broader strategy to maintain control over information. Analysts suggest that the government is concerned that exposure to external media or perspectives might lead citizens to question official narratives or seek alternatives. In one widely cited case from 2014, a man was reportedly caught using a smuggled phone and foreign SIM card to contact family members in South Korea. Sources claim that authorities traced the call and detained him shortly afterward. While the outcome of his case remains unclear, it was referenced in state messaging as a cautionary tale to discourage unauthorized contact with the outside world. Over 65% of the world's population now has access to the internet, and you're likely using it right now to watch this video. In North Korea, however, public access to the global internet is significantly restricted. Instead of the open internet, citizens use a domestic intranet system known as Kwangmyong, introduced in 2014. This closed network reportedly offers access to around 5,500 websites, all hosted within the country. While this may seem like a substantial number, it stands in contrast to the estimated 2 billion websites on the global internet. Content on Kwangmyong is monitored and curated to align with national guidelines. Users cannot freely browse international websites, and communication tools are designed for internal use. Only a limited number of individuals, such as certain government officials and university researchers, are reported to have supervised access to the broader internet. As of recent reports, North Korea has developed approximately 28 websites that are accessible from outside the country. These include friend.com.kp, a social platform with political messaging, a recipe site, and a media site offering documentaries and animated films. While the content serves specific purposes, its scope is more limited compared to the vast diversity of information found on the global web. Imagine having only 4 television channels, all focused on promoting your country's leadership and ideology. This is reportedly the case in North Korea, where broadcast content is tightly regulated by the state. The 4 main state-run channels primarily feature programming that supports official narratives and highlights national achievements. Foreign films, international news, and entertainment from other countries are generally prohibited, as they are considered inconsistent with national messaging. Enforcement of media restrictions is said to be strict. According to various reports, possession of unauthorized content may lead to confiscation and potential legal consequences, with severity depending on the nature of the material. The series includes references to North Korea and features a fictional defector, which some experts believe contributed to the reaction. While the accuracy of the report has been debated, it has been widely circulated and is said to have served as a cautionary message against consuming banned media. In many parts of the world, individuals enjoy the freedom to practice a religion of their choice, whether it's Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, or others. In North Korea, however, reports indicate that practicing unauthorized religion, including Christianity, is considered a serious offense. The country is officially secular, with estimates suggesting that approximately 70% of citizens identify as non-religious. While there are a few churches in the capital, Pyongyang, they are government-run and often serve ceremonial or diplomatic purposes. Some visitors have noted that these churches are sometimes closed during scheduled service times. Analysts suggest that restrictions on religious practice stem from the government's emphasis on loyalty to the leadership. Independent religious belief, particularly in a higher power, may be viewed as conflicting with the state's ideological priorities. In 2014, an American tourist was detained for several months after reportedly leaving a Bible in a public place. Another widely reported case from 2023 alleged that a family was sentenced to prison for possessing a religious text. While the details of such cases are difficult to independently verify, they are frequently cited by international human rights organizations as examples of the country's tight control over religious expression. Most of us have dozed off at the wrong moment, perhaps during a long meeting or a dull lecture. In most places, the consequence might be some embarrassment. But in North Korea, reports suggest that such behavior can carry much more serious implications, especially for government officials. In 2015, international media outlets reported that Hyun Yong-chol, North Korea's Minister of Defense at the time, observers believe that the incident was interpreted as a breach of protocol and decorum. While the accuracy of such reports is difficult to independently confirm, they have been widely circulated by global news agencies and used by analysts to highlight the high standards of discipline and control expected within North Korea's leadership structure. If you had to live under one of these rules for a week, which one would you choose and why? Drop your pick in the comments. If you have siblings, you may have experienced the frustration of being blamed for something you didn't do. In North Korea, according to multiple human rights organizations, this concept is taken much further through what's known as the 3-generation punishment system. This reported policy, also called kin punishment, involves holding close relatives accountable for the actions of one family member. If someone is accused of a serious offense, their parents, children, and even grandchildren may also face legal consequences or imprisonment, regardless of personal involvement. Some reports claim that children born in detention facilities under such policies are raised within those environments based solely on family ties. This system is believed to serve as a strong deterrent against dissent, reinforcing loyalty through extended familial accountability. While these practices are difficult to verify independently, they have been documented in various testimonies by defectors and cited in international investigations. The concept has been widely discussed by experts as an extreme form of collective punishment. In North Korea, expressions perceived as disrespectful toward the country's leadership, Kim Il-sung, Kim Jong-il, or Kim Jong Un, are treated with extreme seriousness. Reports suggest that even minor comments or gestures considered critical of the ruling family may lead to severe consequences under the country's laws. It's not just speech that is monitored. North Korean households are typically required to display portraits of Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il. These portraits are to be maintained regularly, and citizens are issued specific cleaning tools to ensure they are kept in proper condition. Failing to do so may be interpreted as a sign of disrespect, which is considered a serious offense. In some homes, daily rituals of respect, such as bowing to the portraits, have been reported. These practices are part of a broader cultural emphasis on reverence toward national leaders. According to defector testimonies and human rights organizations, penalties for perceived disrespect can include imprisonment or official sanctions. Humor and satire involving political figures are generally not tolerated in this environment, and caution is expected in all forms of expression. Among the unique regulations reported in North Korea, one of the most discussed involves national observances of mourning. Each year on July 8th, the country marks the anniversary of Kim Il-sung's passing in 1994 with solemnity and silence. On this day, citizens are expected to refrain from smiling, laughing, speaking loudly, dancing, or consuming alcohol as a show of national respect. Public celebrations or gatherings are generally not permitted during this period of remembrance. Even personal milestones, such as birthdays, are reportedly subdued if they fall on this date. According to defector accounts and international news sources, violating mourning protocols may lead to legal consequences, which can range from official warnings to more serious penalties depending on the nature of the violation. In 2021, to commemorate the 10th anniversary of Kim Jong-il's passing, media outlets reported that restrictions on public behavior, including bans on laughter, were extended over 11 days. While these policies are difficult to verify independently, they are often cited as examples of the strict cultural expectations enforced during national memorial events. In emergencies, people often act on instinct, reaching for loved ones or essential belongings. In North Korea, however, official guidelines emphasize the importance of preserving portraits of national leaders, such as Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il, during crises. This policy has been widely reported, and in some cases citizens have reportedly faced legal consequences for failing to prioritize the portraits. One incident in 2020, covered by international media, involved a mother who rescued her 2 children from a house fire but did not retrieve the portraits. According to reports, she faced investigation and possible penalties under the country's regulations. Observers suggest that these rules reflect the symbolic role of leadership imagery in North Korean society, where national reverence and protocol are deeply embedded in daily life. While such policies may seem unusual from an outside perspective, they are part of a broader cultural framework emphasizing loyalty and respect. In many cultures, the birth of triplets is considered a unique blessing. In North Korea, triplets are also viewed as symbols of good fortune, but this designation reportedly comes with distinctive protocols managed by the state. According to defector accounts and international reports, when triplets are born, they are temporarily placed in state care. The mother may receive specialized medical attention, often in Pyongyang, and families are reportedly given symbolic gifts, such as a gold ring for girls or a silver knife for boys. The children are raised in state-run institutions for the first few years of life, typically until around the age of 4. After that, they are returned to their biological families. Some sources suggest that triplets may receive certain social advantages later in life, such as improved access to education or military service opportunities. Observers have noted that this early separation can present emotional challenges for families. While the state's involvement is intended to reflect the perceived importance of triplets in society, the temporary distance between parents and children has raised questions among human rights organizations about the impact on early childhood bonding. If this video made you say, "Wait, what?" even once, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. It helps us bring you more jaw-dropping content. Even sports in North Korea have reportedly been adapted to reflect unique national preferences. Basketball, in particular, is said to be played under a set of alternative rules not used in international play. For example, a three-point shot may be awarded 4 points if the ball passes cleanly through the net without touching the rim or backboard. Slam dunks are reportedly worth 3 points instead of 2, and players may lose a point for each missed free throw. A field goal made in the final 3 seconds of the game is said to be worth 8 points, potentially altering the outcome of a match. In contrast to global standards, games can also reportedly end in ties, which is rare in most international basketball leagues. These modifications are attributed to Kim Jong Un, who was said to be interested in customizing the sport to enhance its excitement and unpredictability. Despite his reported admiration for the 1990 Chicago Bulls, adjustments were made to tailor the game to North Korean tastes and standards. North Korea is one of only 2 countries in the world where Coca-Cola is not officially available, the other being Cuba. This is largely due to the absence of formal trade relations with the United States, which makes access to American consumer brands limited for most citizens. Similarly, international fast food chains like McDonald's do not operate in North Korea. Instead, the country has developed its local alternatives, such as Samtasong, a restaurant that serves burgers primarily in Pyongyang and is said to cater mainly to tourists and high-ranking officials. Some reports suggest that the chain is connected to a relative of Kim Jong Un. Most North Koreans rely on traditional foods such as kimchi, rice, and potatoes. This is attributed to both cultural preferences and the impact of international sanctions, which restrict many forms of trade and imports. However, visitors and observers have noted that luxury goods are available in select locations like Pyongyang's Taesong department store. International media reports have pointed out that high-end global brands such as Rolex, Dior, Chanel, and Adidas can sometimes be found there. Kim Jong Un's wife, Ri Sol-ju, has also been photographed wearing Western designer clothing. While many international goods are not broadly accessible to the general population, limited availability of imported items for the elite has drawn attention from analysts and human rights organizations who cite this as an example of social stratification within the country. While most of the world, 168 countries, uses the standard Gregorian calendar, North Korea operates on its own system known as the Juche calendar. Instead of counting years from the birth of Christ, this calendar begins on April 15, 1912, the birth date of Kim Il-sung, the country's founding leader. As a result, the year 2025 corresponds to Juche year 114 in North Korea. The calendar does not include years before 1912, and historical references before that date are generally presented without a formal Juche-era designation. The system was officially introduced on September 9, 1997. Following its implementation, state media, government documents, birth certificates, and other official materials began using the Juche dating format. Analysts view the adoption of the calendar as part of a broader effort to emphasize the legacy and centrality of the country's leadership and national identity. It reflects North Korea's distinct approach to governance, culture, and historical narrative. One of the more unusual media customs reported in North Korea involves the handling of newspapers. Citizens are expected not to fold newspapers in a way that creases or obscures images of national leaders, as doing so may be considered disrespectful. This practice is based on the idea that images of the leadership, often printed on the front pages, should be treated with care and respect. As a result, newspapers are to be handled in a manner that preserves their presentation, especially when portraits are included. According to defector accounts and media observers, these expectations reflect the broader cultural emphasis on honoring leadership figures. While such customs may appear unfamiliar to outsiders, they align with the country's established norms regarding public displays of respect. These 20 rules represent just a fraction of the oppressive laws that govern life in Kim Jong Un's North Korea. From the clothes you wear to the way you style your hair, from the job you work to the place you live, every aspect of existence is controlled by the state. Which of these laws shocked you the most? Can you imagine living under such complete control? Let us know in the comments below. And if this video opened your eyes to the reality of life in North Korea, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more content that exposes the truth about our world's most secretive regimes. Thanks for being with us. Leave a comment, like to show your support, and remember to hit that subscribe button for more exciting videos. See you next time.